Hello, everyone, and welcome back to From Couch to Careers webinar. I'm your host, Katie Mosier, Career Pathway Advisor for WNCC. For those of you that missed our last episode, we talked about how to beat the winter blues in small town Nebraska. Definitely check it out if you haven't already. Past episodes can be found on the Handshake resource page and on the WNCC Student Engagement app. This week's episode, Finding the Right Transfer School for You, has been specifically timed to coincide with next week's transfer fair. If you haven't heard, the fair will be hosted in the main lobby of the Welcome Center on Monday, October 23rd from 9 a.m. until noon. You can expect to see 9 different four-year institutions that are excited about talking to you about their programs of study, admissions expectations, financial aid, and any other concerns or questions that you might have. We in the Student Success Office are dedicated to helping you make a smooth transition. So if you haven't got your transfer plans dialed in, now is definitely the time to start thinking it through. There are so many things that you must consider before making the four-year college jump, and thus today's topic. So let's get started. Money is almost always at the top of the list when you consider where you're going to go to a four-year college. You're going to want to keep several things in mind here. 1, how much will you be paying per credit hour? 2, how many of your credits will transfer? 3, how much does it cost to live in your chosen location? 4, what sort of financial support will you receive via financial aid or scholarships? And what are you going to be expected to cover on your own? There are several tools that I suggest you use when considering the financial impact of your four-year choice. The first we're going to start with is a tool called Transferology. Transferology is a free online tool that allows you to determine how classes will transfer from one school to the next. I would like to note that it is not always 100% accurate, but it will definitely give you a good starting point. To get a definitive answer on transfer credits, it's always smart to contact the office of the registrar at the four-year institution you're interested in attending. They will complete a degree audit and give you an accurate overview of what credits will be accepted and what classes have yet to be completed. So, however, when you're just starting the transfer search, Transferology is a great starting point. Let me show you quickly how it works. So you create a free online profile, log in. You're going to include the school's name. So you're going to put Western Nebraska Community College, which will pop up there, the time that you took the courses, and the department. So for argument's sake, I'm going to be in education. Now, Transferology will pull up some courses that it knows are in our catalog, but it's usually kind of inaccurate. So what you'll have to do is manually add them yourself. So you'll need to have either your working transcript or your student planner pulled up so that you can get the apartment abbreviation. So like EDU or English or whatever it is the course you took, the course title, and the course number. It's very important that these things are accurate or it will not give you an appropriate match between schools. So once you've input all of your classes, you go ahead and search for matches. And it's going to match you up with colleges based upon 2 things, the course code and the course title. Generally speaking, that's the way that colleges match classes. So that's why I'm saying it's not 100% accurate, because sometimes a college will have a class that's very similar to another class at a different college, but they call it something different or it has a different code. And so then it will act like on Transferology that it doesn't transfer over, when in all reality, it probably does. So just make sure that you take care of that degree audit. There's a little more important information here. Let's say that you're interested in going to Chadron State. It's going to tell you how many students are there. So that's kind of a nice little indicator how much money it's going to cost. So you can see Chadron State and Midland University are both the same size, but look at the cost difference, $35,000 annual tuition opposed to $7,000 annual tuition. So if that matters to you, that might be a good initial, nope, not going to Midland University. You can also click on their full profile and it will tell you more about the college. You can also click on the match and it will explain that these are the classes that matched up. If you go to one that doesn't match, it's going to show you the class that was a miss or a maybe. And again, that's completely dependent upon the name and the course number. So Transferology is a really great tool, but it should also be paired with a tool called Big Future. So Big Future is really made for high school students. It's actually by the same company that runs the AccuPlacer, but it's nice because it has this Plan for College tab that has some really awesome college search information. So if you go to the college search page, it will look like this. You can take it, you can see here they've loaded 4,475 colleges across the country, so there's a lot to choose from. You can take a little college quiz that kind of tells, they're going to ask you some questions about what's important to you in a college, and it's going to try to match you up. You can also just filter by these topics: majors, location, type, affordability, campus life credit, those sorts of things. And then it'll match you. You can build a list and save those colleges. And then you can go take it back to Transferology, put your college in and see how well it matches as far as the transfer credits are concerned. So those are two pretty cool tools. It is really important before you make your transfer decision to get that degree audit done. You don't know until the degree audit is done how much you might owe in the future. So because when your classes don't transfer, it means your transfer college has other academic expectations, which almost always means a heavier financial burden right off the bat. And sometimes even you're not going to graduate in 4 years, depending. After you've completed that degree audit and you've narrowed down your college search, it's important to weigh the cost of living. Do you intend on working full-time, part-time, or not at all? But no matter what your plan is, it's always good to do some research on the average cost of living in the area. So a good starting point is to use a free budget planner like the one provided in collegescholarships.org. So let me show you that. Collegescholarships.org has this nice free budget planner. And if nothing else, it's going to force you to think about some of the financial burden that is going to exist that you may not have considered already. So for example, all of these have little drop-down menus. It has different expenses you can load in for school, food and groceries, living like rent. If you're planning on going to UNL, you can also plan on, if you just do a quick Google search with Zillow or something like that, you can go ahead and plan on paying $1,000 on average to rent an apartment in Lincoln. So that's something that you need to take into consideration. Professional fees, entertainment and travel, clothing, loans, contributions, savings and investments, personal toiletries. It's got all these different things. And within that, it has different categories: eating out, snacks, groceries, meal plans, just things to think about. It'd be really awesome for you to create a report. You can even view report and print it out, and it'll tell you kind of a layout for what you need to prepare for. So this is a really great tool to use if you feel uncomfortable with that. Okay, one last step that just should not be left out when determining your transfer school is to schedule an appointment with the financial aid representative. They will be able to give you some good insight and guidance. Ask them about scholarships, ask them about your FAFSA, do your financial research before you go. All right, moving on. Outside of money, it's important to consider what program of study you want and whether or not the college you are considering actually has it. If you're struggling to decide between two schools, take a look at the program of study course list. The classes you have to take in the program might be the deciding factor. Also consider distance from home, work opportunities, and the size of the school. If you're moving from a small community college like WNCC to a large university like UNL, you can plan on a bit of a culture shock. Classes are going to be bigger and you're going to have less access to faculty. Some questions to consider when you're deciding: how far do you want to be from home? What programs do they provide? What classes will you have to take? How big is the campus? Are there work opportunities, or are you going to be battling with other college students for jobs? Does campus life have what you want? Because it's not all about classes, it's about the experience as well. And is it in an area that appeals to you? If you want to be close to the mountains, then you're not going to want to be at UNL. And if you want the city life, then UNL is a great fit. So you have to consider those things. Okay, so you've decided on a school. You've got it all dialed in and you know what you want. Now, what do you do? So let's focus on some commonly asked questions to clarify the process. First, how does the transfer application differ from a first-year application? Typically, application for most schools, the transfer application is very similar to a first-time student application. You'll often see requirements like letters of recommendation, essays, transcripts, and test scores. These are the three most typical pieces of information that have to be sent to the college. If you want a degree audit, you have to send any previous transcripts that you might have to get that audit. Get an early start sending your documentation over, as schools are typically swamped with applicants at the beginning of a new semester, and it's always a good idea to reach out to the admissions office with any questions. Can I still graduate in 4 years? Well, most students will graduate in 4 years, but there are several factors that must be considered. First, did your credits transfer? If not, you may be looking at taking additional courses, which can throw off graduation times. If you change majors, you can pretty much, you might need more time, to meet specific requirements. Again, use Transferology and/or contact the registrar's office to find out more. Can you reapply to a college that previously rejected you? Absolutely. Showing up with a flashy new transcript with a really solid GPA that proves your success at the college level is a great way to be accepted into a more competitive school, and one that maybe you weren't able to get into in the first place. All right, that pretty much covers it. If you have more questions about transferring us, please come see us on Monday, October 23rd for the transfer fair. There will be lots of great resources and information available to help ease any stress when you're making the transition. I think that is it for now. Join us next week for our Couch to College seminar titled Resume Building 101. And as always, thanks for listening in. We will see you next time.